Willkommen, willkommen, bienvenue, welcome once again to Modern Sales Meltdown with myself, Gareth Waxel, the Many Purple Hats, and of course David Treacle Chernick. And today is not AI can't fix lazy selling. My apologies for that. It's which is what's written currently underneath this headline. I'm going to change that immediately. It's the death of the discovery call. Last week we were doing AI can't fix selling, and this week we're talking about death of the discovery call. And as usual, we have a special guest. Our special guest is Maya, who is going to be on the call with us very shortly. But can you, while I prepare Maya in the background, David, explain what you mean by the death of the discovery call?
Okay, so the discovery call used to be this sacred thing. It was like the moment when we learned who the buyer was, what they wanted, how to help them, all of that kind of stuff. But with the advent of AI, and particularly things like data scraping, automated questionnaires, and all of that kind of stuff, the question is, do we still really need it? So today we are asking, is that discovery call dead, or is it just evolving? And it's going to be great to hear Maya's take on it. So I'll just open up with what the discovery call used to be. So once upon a time, it was really the heart of selling. You'd get two humans talking to each other. There'd be curiosity. We'd be expressing empathy, we'd be questioning them, and really trying to get a good connection with them. So it wasn't just about gathering their data, their information. It was also about discovering each other. And you could tell when it was a good discovery call because it feels collaborative. You know, it felt sort of mutual. It was even kind of quite a creative conversation, but somewhere along the line, discovery turned into an interrogation. We see it in financial services, for example, with what do they call it? The fact finder form. I mean, a question to you first, Gareth. When did you first start noticing that these discovery calls became a bit more mechanical, a bit more interrogatory?
I think it was in the, I'd say 2008, 2009. I noticed it moved away from, can I take you out for a cheeky drink and let's get to know each other and have a chat and how the family and all the rest of it, to almost, can you fill out this list of requirements? And it started becoming prescriptive.
Yeah.
And I think we started divorcing ourselves from a relationship at that time. And it's only more recently that you and I and the rest of the world, it seems, has started preaching relationship-based selling.
Yeah, it does feel like that. I mean, one of the things I do with my clients is I get them to fill in the empty boxes on CRM. You know, those empty boxes only being the most crucial ones, and particularly for things like qualification. You know, filling in that box, which you would find out the information from during a discovery call. If you were to buy such a thing from me or anyone else, or when do you think that would be? All of that kind of stuff. But, you know, the rest of the discovery, the rest of the fact finds, we can learn pretty much before the call. So, you know, all that prospecting data, company information, we can even see their intent signals by looking at their websites and the stuff that they post about. And even things like, I suppose, what do they call it? The sentiment of that business, the language that they are using. And AI tools can obviously summarize things like LinkedIn profiles. They can scrape your company website, and they might even be able to predict buying triggers based on that industry, that business, their turnover, I mean, all sorts of different bits of data.
So what we're saying, and this is for Maya's benefit, because as you can see, Maya has joined us. Maya is our AI friend who is very circumspect on all the topics to do with sales, which I'm bringing to the show. Welcome, Maya.
Good to be back in the mix. Sounds like you're diving into how AI is changing the game with initial research, like scraping data and predicting triggers.
Yeah, so here's a question for you, Maya. How much can AI...
No, it's all right. Wait a moment, Maya, and David's going to give you a question for you.
This is my first question to you, Maya. How much can AI really discover about a person before the first conversation happens?
Okay, so David's asking me how much AI can really discover about someone before you actually talk to them, right?
Well, before you hang on, before the whole purpose of this is about is it the death of the discovery call? Because the discovery call has always been, has been the fundament, the mainstay of the sales process, because it's in that time that you find out the very basics, and you find out more as you go further down, but you find the very basics of what the client believes they want, and then after that you negotiate and talk about what you can actually provide. But so and our proposition is, are we witnessing the death of the discovery call?
Right. So the question isn't just what AI can find out, but whether knowing all that up front makes the discovery call obsolete. That's a good point. Seems like it shifts the whole dynamic.
But specifically, what can AI really discover about a person before that conversation happens?
Okay, so let's break down what AI can realistically uncover before that first call. It's a lot, honestly. It can pull professional history from LinkedIn, obviously, company info, revenue, employee numbers, all that public stuff. It can scan their company website for messaging, values, recent news, basically build a pretty detailed profile of their business. It can even scrape social media for mentions, articles they've shared, things they've commented on to get a sense of their interests and perspectives. But it's still surface level, isn't it?
Well, it gives us a lot of context, but it doesn't necessarily give us the meaning. So I'm now wondering whether the purpose of the discovery call is just to collect facts, or is it to create trust? And if it is also the latter, how do we create trust during the discovery call that is different to just collecting facts?
That's the core of it, isn't it? It's not just about the facts. Anyone can pull facts. Trust is built on reading between the lines, picking up on nuance, understanding what they're not saying. It's about demonstrating empathy, asking thoughtful questions that show you're genuinely listening. It's about rapport, basically. Something AI isn't great at faking yet.
Isn't great. You hear that? Isn't great at faking yet, you say, Maya. So that leads me to ask, do you think that it will be able to, inverted commas, air quotes, fake it soon? And soon, is that in weeks, months, or years, in your opinion?
Fake it. Right. Look, AI is getting better at mimicking emotional cues, sure, but truly understanding and responding to them, that's another level. I think it can get convincingly close in the next few years, maybe 3 to 5. Enough to fool some people some of the time. But the truly subtle stuff, micro expressions, vocal tone, the little pauses that reveal someone's uncertainty, probably decades, honestly. It's still pretty rudimentary, even with all the advances.
Yeah, but sometimes here's the thing. I don't think all of the world is perhaps as cynical as David and I are, and therefore, if one presents as a truly interested third party trying to find out what they can so they can give you the best possible service, wouldn't you say that if you can mimic it well enough, that it will be almost indistinguishable from the real thing? I know that we all know that at the core it's not, and therefore it's probably missing some nuance. But my question is, will people actually notice that?
Okay, that's a really good point. It doesn't matter if we know it's a mimicry if the other person doesn't. If the AI can hit the key emotional beats, ask the right questions, and appear genuinely engaged, a lot of people won't notice the difference. And honestly, does it even matter if it gets the job done? That's a bit unsettling, isn't it?
Okay. So just on that, the purpose of being able to connect, human to human or human to a very good fake human is because a good discovery call isn't just about extracting data.
Right.
It's really about, uncovering the depth and finding some alignment and intent. In fact, it just puts it slightly more directly. It can be, and the best sales calls are like this, the best discovery calls are like this, is about helping buyers discover their own clarity. Yeah, it's not just helping them fill in boxes, it's helping them discover, really think about what their actual problems are, what their ideal solutions really are. So again, going back to you, Maya, can AI help people discover themselves or just describe what they think they need?
That's the $1 million question, isn't it? Can AI facilitate actual self-discovery or just reflect back what someone already believes? I'd say the latter for now.
Okay.
AI can analyze data and identify patterns, but it can't offer genuine insight or challenge someone's assumptions in the same way a good human can.
Yeah.
You can describe what someone thinks they need, absolutely, but actually helping them uncover the root of their problems, that requires empathy, intuition, and a bit of wisdom. Things AI still lacks.
There's so many different situations that I can remember in sales calls, these discovery calls, where, I don't know, I pick up on some kind of vibe, maybe a very particular word that they used, perhaps how they stumbled into that word, a little sort of a micro gesture that makes me want to probe that a little more. Back in the day, we used to call it helping them wallow. They tell you a problem, you help them wallow in that problem, really sort of live in that problem for just a moment, so that we can uncover what the consequences are, the depth of their feelings, how important it is to them, their sense of urgency. And quite often that can lead into a different solution to that problem than the one that they had originally thought they were looking for.
That's fascinating. Helping them wallow. That's a surprisingly accurate way to put it. That level of intuitive probing, that willingness to sit in the discomfort with them, AI can't do that. It's too focused on offering solutions, not on exploring the problem's emotional weight.
Yeah.
It's about that human messiness, right?
Yeah.
AI wants efficiency, and that kind of emotional exploration is anything but. So are we circling back to this idea that the death of the discovery call is a bit premature?
It feels like it. I mean, there are certain... there's the donkey work that people often say that AI is good at, doing your sort of pre-call research and, a bit of prep. AI also listening to those calls and being able to summarize them and, highlight things like the keywords, and even like drafting follow-up emails, instantly. Even yesterday, I was writing something, and I wanted to pick out some of the key language that a person's biggest fans were using in their reviews and recommendations. They had a lot of recommendations, right? So I was able to distill that just with a very simple prompt to get a description of why this person's clients loved him so much, right?
Right. AI isn't replacing the call, it's augmenting it.
Correct.
Handling the grunt work, the summarization, the follow-ups, freeing up the salesperson to focus on the human stuff.
Yeah, definitely. If AI can do the admin, then that means that the sellers should really be spending more time being human, not less time being human.
Exactly. And that's where the value is, isn't it? Ultimately, people still buy from people, or at least they buy from someone they trust. And trust isn't built on efficiency, it's built on connection.
Yeah, but I postulate that if they believe it's a person, and if it appears human enough, the assumption is that they're a person. Yes, I know there are AI actors at the moment, and they're all a bit shonky. You've got no idea. It's very obvious that they are. But I would say, and Maya is a very good example of this, David, it's getting close. I mean,
yeah. And look, there might be instances.
You could be faulted for thinking that we were having a real conversation with another person here. I mean, there are times where it doesn't be the case, but it does feel that way.
Yeah, look, I know from like the music world, for example, that if people are listening to music and they like the music and they don't know that it's AI generated, they're kind of down with that. But as soon as somebody knows it's AI, right, they get switched off by it. I wonder whether in sales there could be two opposing forces working for different situations. For example, if I was looking to buy something to solve a very intimate kind of problem, I might be more comfortable speaking to a computer about it than another human being. Yeah, yes. I might find myself, more easily sharing very, very personal information to a computer.
Because I'll tell you why. Because I don't think if you do that, you don't feel judged.
Yeah, you don't feel judged. However, the skills that the human can add to that, and in fact, I would go as far as to say now that we must protect and sort of develop these skills, is that deep listening, the ability that we have to read nuance, to be able to adjust our tone, asking unscripted questions, maybe going down a tangent that we wouldn't do, but just instinctively feel could be, a good route. Here we are utilizing all the neurons and connections in our brain, which is vast. I mean, even today, even with like quantum computing, you would need a big computer room to be able to replicate all of those. There are microscopic level, those connections. Helping people making sense of their priorities, spotting things like inconsistencies and being sensitive when we're exploring those inconsistencies. AI, I have found, tends to hone in on what was most recently said or most prominently said.
Yeah.
Rather than, really sort of honing in on, what somebody really, really is. They might have just mentioned it, but it might be the most important thing. And those at the moment certainly are human-only strengths for now. But, what of those sorts of things do you think sellers are neglecting right now? All of those different human skills, what are we neglecting? Perhaps imagining that AI can be doing it for us, or just not doing it because we've never done it. What are the really, really important human skills that we really have to protect?
That's a big question. I think a lot of sellers are neglecting curiosity, really genuinely wanting to understand the other person's world, not just their problems.
Yeah,
they're so focused on pitching a solution, they forget to ask why enough. They also underestimate the power of vulnerability, sharing their own experiences, creating a sense of shared humanity. And honestly, active listening, truly hearing what the other person is saying, not just waiting for their turn to talk. AI can transcribe, but it can't listen.
A quick question, just to add a little bit more to that. Are there any ways that you can think of, Maya, that AI can help humans sharpen those skills rather than erode those skills?
That's a good one. AI could potentially be used as a training tool. Role-playing scenarios, giving feedback on your listening skills, analyzing your questions, pointing out miscues, maybe even simulating difficult conversations so you can practice navigating them. But it would have to be designed specifically for that purpose, to enhance, not replace, human skills.
Right.
It's about using it as a coach, not a crutch.
Use it as a coach, not a crutch. I like it.
And
so
on that, I think I'm gonna say goodbye. I think I'm gonna say goodbye to Maya for the moment so that we can wind up. But I think that was
thank you, Maya.
Thank you so much, Maya. Using it as a coach, not a crutch. I think that's rather brilliant in a way.
That is good, isn't it? I mean, it's certainly for the immediate future. It's hybrid, isn't it? The best discovery calls obviously start before the call ever happens through all of the desk research we used to call it. So all that data, preparation from AI, being able to automate all of that and really sort of dig deep and scrape data from here, there, and everywhere. But the magic still happens in the moment. That human to human thing. The Maya and her kind can prepare all the facts, but it's only people who can uncover the truth.
My biggest ever sale was through after what I thought the main sale was complete, which was 40 or 50 K's worth of equipment, and then the guy confirmed, I just got to take this call, moved to a little table next to us, and I overheard him say, well, we bought all this kit, now we need the engineers to go and install it. I don't know where we're going to get them from. So I tapped him on the shoulder and I said, we can do that. Now, the point about that is, would AI would have seen that as an opportunity, and using the fact that, here's a problem, the guy is obviously in distress, and I felt empathy that he needed to get equipment and kit installed and supported in a certain period of time, and no one was helping him. So, but it was a private conversation that I overheard. Do you know what I mean? It's that active listening once again.
Yeah.
I mean, you've had the similar experience yourself, have you not?
Constantly. This is always happening. I mean, it happens even with things like, I do a lot of referrals, as you know.
Yeah.
A passing comment by somebody, or a small observation. How come you're doing that? I mean, even I had a client call this morning on the Treacle Club, and he's probably listening to this show. And it's often during those client calls where I might observe the client looking at something, reading something, and quite often when they've done that, I've said, Agnes, what's your setup there? Because your whole setup, how you've created your dashboard, where your stuff is, where your data is, your CRM on that side of the screen, your writing tool on that side of the screen, your call lists right in the middle, however you've got it, is quite an important part. If you're doing volume sales, you're speaking to a lot of people all the time. You just have to watch, gamers and how they set up even the chair position, how they've got their mouse positioned. I can notice those things, which are important in doing sales effectively. Of course, AI can be programmed to look out for those things and learn for those things. But, I still think that there are so many different nuances that it's going to have to learn, which of course it's going to be able to learn. But there's so many of those that I just want to make sure that until that point where we can teach AI to do it, we need to make sure that we are retaining those skills to a very high degree.
Yeah, and on that note, I want to thank everyone watching. I hope you found this useful. We try and erode away at misgivings, miscommunications, misunderstandings to do with sales, and try and give you better sales tools so that hopefully you can do it better in a world where you may think that it's being overrun by AI. And instead of fighting against it, try and work with it. There are ways in which AI can help you there. Some of the ideas that Maya came up with, actually rather brilliant. Using it almost as a way of play testing a scenario before you actually have the call. That might be something you can do now. I think you can do that even with ChatGPT. You can, using the voice side of it, you can say, I would like to have a pretend sales call, and I want you to be the client. Here's everything you need to know about the client. Let me now role play it with you. Now, it won't be exactly the same, but it will help you be prepared for some level of questioning.
There you go.
And I think that's a great thing to do.
And then next week we can approach the subject then of the return of the handshake. So bringing the human back in, enhancing those human skills, making ourselves more valuable to the sale.
Yeah, indeed. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy this. If you do, it's nice. Do you know what? I keep getting people saying, I watch you with David talk about sales every so often. Do you know what would be lovely if you guys would write a comment either live or after the fact to tell people what you liked about it? We are trying to get to the point where we've got a constant level of subscribers, and we perhaps leverage it into live performances and all sorts of other different ways in which we can spin this thing to help you guys do sales better. Remember, I come from the marketing angle, David comes from the sales angle, and together we try and butt heads or come up with ideas that hopefully will make your life better. Until next week, please keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars, and who knows, maybe you can look after that mental health. Take care. Bye-bye now. Now, the funny